Exciting. Yeah. Reality becomes their definition of normal.
I don't know. I'm sort of conditioning myself against having too much hope, trying to make myself feel girded for however long it's going to take. But I like that the fact that they're talking, and it must have been a substantive counter, otherwise they wouldn't be at the table. So that's reason to have hope.
Doesn't let him preach it.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can make any comparisons to any labor negotiation in the past. This is uncharted waters for everybody because you're dealing with new factors, you're dealing with new players. You know, we've never had to contend with investment that really had no accountability to our community before. You know, in the old days, we made a deal because our kids went to the same schools and we ate in the same restaurants and we were going to see each other work on Monday. Now, they don't go to our schools, they don't eat in our restaurants, they're in Silicon Valley or New York or anywhere but here expecting a 20% return on an investment in a very speculative market, the losses of which are now being taken off the backs of labor rather than admitting to the fact that this is a bit of an overinflated ecosystem.
It's right there.
And if they can...
I could just twist it and yeah, it could happen.
Why is it so hard to get to? I don't know.
That was a lot of fun.
She's probably really good. You can start it.
Yeah.
Or racist.
I see both sides of the issue. I personally weigh in on I wouldn't want to bleed off any leverage right now. We were so close to 100 days right before those interim agreements started to kick in. My personal feeling is a lot of the companies that are making those films already have distribution lined up or some sort of guarantee at distribution, and if they don't, then they're in a buyer's market where they get to game the system and it will benefit them. It will benefit the lucky, fortunate few who are able to be employed on those jobs. I hope that they're shot in America. I doubt that most of them will be. And I'd be really suspicious about where some of that deficit financing came from to begin with, because the last time 500 movies were put into development speculatively without distribution was way before my time.
I come here often, like the amount of people I even have. So he knows how to
because I was like, she's the only woman with the writing credit on it.
All of these things are based on royalties. That's what's so confusing. No one's asking them to like front you money. This is like money if things work out. And clearly things are working out. And they've been so, the AMPTP has been so intrusive in the creation of content for the last 5 years while they've consolidated this. And I think in the end, the audience is sort of realizing that they don't care about them at all. We don't call it content, and the audience doesn't call it content. So you don't expect this thing to work this way. And as someone who created a show in a hole of consolidation in a period when this happened, you know, The Sopranos is, I did not create The Sopranos, I worked on it, but The Sopranos opened things up to prove that the audience, that you could make money on something that was quality like that, and they have done everything they can to sort of cut that avenue off, increase the amount of middle management and creative executives and interference, use algorithms to reverse engineer everything, and I never wanted the job of having to pick what shows they do. I never fault anybody for failing on that, but it's been so conservative and so hostile to the audience, assuming that they'll just watch, if they control distribution, they'll watch anything, and guess what? They're watching TikTok.
I think that.
And as you might imagine, he's so practical and pragmatic. It's a lack of interest in entertainment, and I will call myself an artist and say that people need this, and they respond to it, and in the end, there's money in it. And it's one of the things that even in inflation, people are willing to pay for, and they kind of are squandering it and abusing it. So I'm hoping that this, you know, I'm ready to go back to work. I have been in collaboration many times with people in these businesses. They're not banks to me. They actually are valuable, you know, channels. And it's just, I'm optimistic that that as this moves in, that it will get a little quieter so that we can go back to work. because they really need to save face at this point.
You know, I think, you know, always coming back to the table is potentially a good sign, but then it's all about what happens when they're at the table. From what I heard, it seemed like things weren't really moving forward that much, so it kind of felt like an empty gesture. So I think this is probably going to go on quite a bit more. You know, I feel like these big corporations are just kind of out of touch with what the working people are actually going through, the exploitation we're going through, and the people and the artists and the creatives who actually make the product, everything that makes all the profit that they get. And yet, you know, we can't make a living wage, especially in Los Angeles. It's ridiculous. I mean, we don't know the next couple of weeks where money's coming from.
Yeah,
so
that's been really stressful.
Yeah.
Just not knowing what's happening money-wise. So.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now!